college, Mark was Lutheran. They had a very nice Lutheran high school there.
Felicia's not here today.
We were,
She didn't say she was canceling.
7X?
Me.
Lutheran 7X at one time or not?
well, they had the Fort Wayne Seminary.
Yeah, yeah. I thought-
Seminary.
Oh, here she is.
They were here,
River Forest,
right.
Illinois, yeah.
They split off.
St. Louis. Didn't
we don't know.
You're
not late yet.
To St.
Right,
Louis.
no, they went, no.
What we need is a Hartman Hammond Bridge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call the meeting to order. If we would all rise, please, for the invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you for being a nation of freedom, which we were so honored to express at the voting booth yesterday. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Bonnie.
Lathrop,
Yes.
Kropa,
Yes.
Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Klaus,
Here.
Crawford, Johnson,
Here.
Max Bauer.
Here. Next on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Are there any changes, additions, deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, seeing none, they stand approved. This is our first opportunity for public comment. Bonnie, if you would read the rules, please.
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners, which is required to be open to the public under the provision of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. Any person wishing to address the board shall state his or her name and address. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions, if any. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, extend the amount of time any person is allowed to speak. Public comment will be solicited during the 2 public comment periods noted in Rule 5.4, Order of Business. However, public comment will generally be received at any time during the meeting regarding a specific topic currently under discussion by the board. Members of the public wishing to comment should raise their hand or pass a note to the clerk in order to be recognized and shall not address the board until called upon by the chairperson.
At this time, would anyone like to make public comment? Please, Doctor.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Charlie Current. I live at 283 Midtown, and I'd like to humbly, kindly request, implore the board to consider, about this Bell issue. For those of us or neighbors who have grandchildren that have told me they wake them up, guests on the lady who lives across on Washington, or guests can't hear, so he has to turn an air conditioner on. I run my air conditioner continuously. It costs me $50 more a month. I have a sound device that I run and earplugs, and it causes me to lose anywhere from 1 to 2 hours every night, some nights 4 hours of sleep. And this is with the 50, 60 people that I talk to immediately. Those that live further down Midtown or those out 3 or 4 houses out, it's much less because the sound is decreased. Somebody has told me, the workers are those who work all night to try to go to bed, gong, gong, gong. Every half hour, I have had 3 people confide in me that, since I'm a physician, that they're now taking Ambien, which is not a great idea for them, getting up and then going to work, and Trazodone. If there was a really stinky plant or smell coming out of there, we would make a difference. If there was a cancer-producing agent, we would all be up in arms. If we had a mega LED light going on, flashing there all night long, someone that wouldn't do that, I don't think. If you had a 50-mile-an-hour wind machine, it wouldn't do it. I can read the clock from my house if I don't have a cell phone or a watch on. It's lit up, it's very mild, soft light. I can look at it. So I don't really know why we need it. 65 decibel. That's the sound in your bedroom if I'm talking to you in this range every half hour, and that includes 10 gongs at 10, 11 at 11, 12 at midnight, every half hour all night long. And I've talked to an ears, nose, and nose physician. You know, those that are in their 70s, late 60s, their hearing has decreased over 50% in the majority. They may or may not hear it to the same level other people do. I've talked to a sleep doctor and said the EEG readings and the subconscious level of this is psychologically very bad. Somebody in my neighborhood started on antidepressant because she said, this is driving me crazy. Why do we do harm? You know, the first rule is do no harm. We would not want to hurt anyone. The paper wrote a spontaneous article in support of this same thing. We're not historically the same town we were 100 years ago. You know, we had dirt roads, we didn't have lights, you know, the sewage and other things were much different 100 years ago. We went 8 years peacefully without the bell. Now we have to have this running continuously.
Thank you, Doctor. That
you.
time is up.
If someone had a, you know, a condo out in the country and we wanted to ring a loud gong, they would be up in arms about it. You know, so anyway, it causes hypertension, anxiety, heart problems, strokes are well-known things. So
Thank you, Doctor.
I would like to implore and thank you guys for what you do and ask in like the next 2 or 3 weeks you can get it on the agenda.
Thank you.
Appreciate your work.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one rush to the podium. Next on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes, additions, deletions to the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Commissioner Kropa, supported by Commissioner Johnson to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next on our agenda that is now approved is the consent calendar. Bonnie?
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file or approval, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. A, receive and file. Number 1, July report, Road Commission. Number 2, July report, Conservation District. Number 3, Planning Commission minutes of May 17th. Number 4, Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency minutes of May 19th. Number 5, Airport Commission minutes of May 24th. Number 6, Brownfield Redevelopment Authority minutes of May 25th. Number 7, Department of Health and Human Services minutes of May 27th. Number 8, Parks and Recreation Strategic Plan 2016-2017. Number 9, Northern Lakes Community Mental Health minutes of June 16th. Number 10, Commission on Aging minutes of June 21st. Number 11, Land Bank Authority minutes of June 22nd. Number 12, Northwestern Regional Airport Commission minutes of June 28th. Number 13, 911 Board minutes of July 14th. Number 14, Commission on Aging minutes of July 19th. Number 15, Green Lake Township Annual TIF Report. Number 16, 124 West Front Street DEQ Loan Acceptance, Traverse City Place. B, approvals. This should be number 1. Accept and appropriate additional grant funding from MDOC.
All right. Would any commissioner like any item removed from the consent calendar? Commissioner Kropa?
That would be A16, 124 West Front Street, DEQ Loan Acceptance, Traverse City Place.
All right. Anyone else? Any member of the public? Staff? All right. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as amended.
So moved.
Support?
Moved by Dr. Johnson, supported by Commissioner Kropa. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. We have no special orders of business. Next on our agenda is items removed from the consent calendar. Commissioner Kropa, you have the floor.
It's probably no surprise why I pulled this, considering who's in the audience today, but as you know, I supported this loan for multiple reasons when it came to the board, last month, I guess it was, when we met last. And during our discussion of this, I heard from several commissioners that they just wanted maybe some more information. As the motion maker last time, I made an error because I should have changed my motion and made a motion to table, because that would have been the appropriate way to have staff be allowed to discuss it with commissioners that had questions. So I didn't, and I found out what the best thing I could do, and that would be to pull it off the consent calendar and allow a commissioner that voted no on it to allow us to reconsider this loan. So I am hoping that we have someone who voted no on this that is willing to make a motion to reconsider this, because I think that I was privy to a lot of information that other commissioners weren't. And I think that if you had the opportunity to have all the information, that there may be a more solid vote by the board, yes or no, but based on the facts rather than just maybe the idea of what the loan was about. So I would ask one of the no commissioners to make a motion, if it is possible, to reconsider this loan at our next scheduled board meeting, August 17th.
Dr. Johnson?
Yeah, I don't know if this is correct wordage or not, but I will move that we bring the 124 West Front Street DEQ loan application, Traverse City Place, to our
August 17th.
August 17th, I was going to say September, August 17th meeting.
I will second that motion.
Discussion.
You know,
Dr. Johnson?
and I very well may vote no again, but I really, we try to make all our decisions with as much information as we can have, and, we didn't have a lot of information. I did, after the meeting, tell Lisa, there just wasn't enough information there. I did read the Brownfield packet, and there was a lot of information in there, so I'd like to just see us reevaluate it and on the 17th and go from there. So.
Dr. Lathrop?
Yeah, I felt a little caught, a little flat-footed in that issue, because I thought it'd be followed up with some type of motion to table it or reconsider it, and so I too kind of made an error. We have two people that I have great respect for that both spoke about that, and my problem is I am just too ignorant to make that complicated decision at this point. But by the time it comes up on the 17th, I'll have a lot more information here about it, and I can make a much better decision. And I, like Dr. Johnson, I'm not saying I'm going to say yes. I just hate making a decision. Well, I won't make a decision unless I have information. So I think it's reasonable to bring it back and discuss it.
Okay.
If I could,
Yeah,
just
yes,
to clarify,
you
I think the motion should be properly phrased as the board's motion to reconsider not approving the DEQ loan for this particular project.
Ditto.
That's what he
Bob
meant.
said, I heard
Yes.
that. I seconded
It was
that.
my southern accent that
That's the way Bonnie wrote it.
I'm sure it is.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr.
I knew
President.
reconsider was in there.
Any other Commissioner Croppa?
I just wanted to add to that, through my time on the board, I have noticed that regardless of whether we agree or disagree, every single commissioner does their homework, and they learn a lot, and there is a lot that goes into the process before you sit here on a Wednesday night, and it may not seem obvious to other people. And I think that this particular vote reflected upon the board in a negative manner that is not an appropriate description of how we prepare for things. I don't think that is my reasoning for the reconsideration, out of respect to this board, because I think that I don't think it reflected on us very well. And I just ask everybody that if you did have any questions that night or didn't understand everything, if you could reach out, just like I said a month ago to everybody, to the resources we have, and then make your decision appropriately based on that.
All right. Would anyone care to comment on this issue before we take a vote? Please.
Mark Eckhoff, 1027 South Long Lake Road, and I'm Chair of the Brownfield Authority. That was very gracious and humble of Commissioner Croppa to accept responsibility for how this turned out. But as the Chair of the Brownfield Authority, I didn't have our ducks in a row. There was a great discussion about it at our meeting. It was very thorough. A lot of topics were covered, a lot of angles on what this is all about, and I think the Brownfield Authority understood the magnitude of what we were discussing, and we should have had a better presentation here, and that was my responsibility. So thank you for bailing me out. I appreciate it and letting us have another chance. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Colburn?
Honorable Chairwoman and Commissioners, thank you for your ear. I want to back up a little
Mr. Colburn,
bit.
you need to introduce yourself. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Martin Colburn, City Manager, City of Traverse City, and I'm a resident of Traverse City and reside most of the time in this building at 400. Stepping back a little bit in terms of the history of the county and the city, this particular partnership in terms of the brownfield goes back over 14 years. And there was a great plan laid out in terms of a lot of the activities that would be built into going forward with trying to address property issues that need some form of attention, remediation in regard to the pollution that happened here from over the last century or more. In reality, at the federal level and at the state level, and this is how it works down to the local level, having partnerships such as this, the different levels of government have recognized that if we don't address some of the pollution issues, and in the 1970s, the federal government really started this drive, and it has trickled into the local levels of how to address pollution issues. So the brownfield is a tool, a really vital tool in terms of how we address those. Now there's other tools that we work with, and I think there's some confusion. We talk about TIFs, the tax incremental finance. There's TIFs with brownfield, there's TIFs with DDAs, there's TIFs with LDFAs, which are the industrial style. There's TIFs with business corridors. So it's a tool that's used and sometimes even overlaps with each other in which we can partner. And in this particular case, specifically, we've been working on this plan for 14 years and on this particular project of trying to make a development agreement work in which we would be able to ultimately not only put a significant piece of property back into production, which otherwise a lot of private investors are not willing to do if there's not help from the federal, state, or local levels to remediate these pollution issues. That being said, we have a development agreement in which we're also trying to remedy, and I won't say correct totally, but at least work on our parking issues locally in terms of a parking deck, which, as you know, is historically has been and will continue to be an issue. But the particular partnership and this particular agreement, and it gets back down to how we can legally structure things. The brownfield has state law that allows us to be able to use it as a tool in this way. The city can't because of the way it's structured. We're not a brownfield. Not that we can't be one, but we can't just take over a brownfield is our understanding legally. If we can, we could be willing to speak with that. But for now, this particular issue is that we're trying to get this in place. It is time sensitive. We've been working on it for about 3 years, the county and the city together, and we're very close to having a negotiated agreement with the development agreement with all the different parts of this that will allow us to have that parking deck. So we seek your support on that, on how it's structured, and we'll continue to talk with you over the next couple of weeks to answer any questions that you may have. But the city does seek your support on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Colburn. Mr. Bacajalupi.
Hello, Rob Bacigalupi, DDA Director, resident of the county, 627 6th Street. I just want to kind of echo what Mr. Eckhoff said, this and Mr. Colburn. This is a project that we've been working on for a very long time with the Brownfield Authority, and I certainly take some of the blame for not being at the meeting and being available to, provide information to the county board to help make a good decision. And I appreciate the opportunity, if you vote yes, to come back on the 17th and provide more information. So thank you.
All right. Anyone else wishing to make public comment?
My name is Bill Golden. I live at 4001 Hidden Creek Drive, which is Garfield Township. I do have a business at 122 East Front Street and a building down there. It's been in our family for 62 years. I'm going to be gone traveling for business for your next meeting, so I just wanted to say a couple things. A lot of, as a merchant, I get a lot of where to park, and this piece of property would be perfect with everything going on at West Front Street and with Garland Street being redone now. I really appreciate you guys coming forward and reconsidering this whole vote. And again, I'm going to be gone the 17th, so I just wanted to say as a merchant, I really hope the vote goes yes, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Mr. Wood?
Thank you. Kent Wood, 4323 Baywood Drive, also representing the Traverse City Area Chamber of Commerce, 202 East Grandview Parkway. And I had about 25 minutes worth of notes or something I was going to talk about, but in this case, I did just want to say thank you to Dr. Johnson, Dr. Lathrop for your comments also, Commissioner Kropa. Thank you for, for your comments and for your thoughts to reconsider. Just, for your information, you probably already know, but the Chamber of Commerce does support this project. We do support the TIF plan that this is a part of, the Traverse City Place Brownfield plan that this is a part of, and so certainly look forward to working with you as a chamber and our members in talking about this issue, helping get you more information as we lead up to that August 17th meeting, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donald Coe, 211 Midtown Drive, Traverse City. I just want to briefly thank you again for reconsideration of the project and particularly the amelioration of that brownfield. I live in Midtown, which is a development that benefited from brownfield redevelopment. That was quite a site that had a lot of contamination. And then as the early resident of Midtown, have watched what has developed around Midtown. There's no question when we were working for Hagerty to remain in this community, having a parking deck was a key issue in Hagerty's mind for remaining in this community when they were being wooed by many other communities. For those of us who own homes in that specific area, we've seen the value of our investments increase as business has developed around us, and some of the old derelict sites have been cleaned up and have been repurposed for commercial use and also for residential use. So I'm just a proponent for the city of Traverse City for the fact that we need additional density, but parking is a key issue for additional density. So I hope that you'll give every consideration to this project as it moves forward. So thank you again for reconsideration. And one last point, as a resident of Midtown, I love those bells.
It's Easter Day.
Janine Easterday, 1011 Lake Ridge Drive, Traverse City. Thank you very much for bringing forward the motion to reconsider this vote. I am in support of the loan, and you may not have had an opportunity to read my email communication with you today, but I will not go into any more detail with that since I'm very hopeful that you will reconsider this motion. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Judge Bauer?
I suppose there needs to be a skunk at every meeting, but they're talking about environmental, and we're all for that. Everybody thinks that's a good idea, and Brownfield has done a lot of environmental. That's where it got the name Brownfield. But the $700,000 of environmental is not what this is about. It's about $8 million of other spending, which is not environmental. Some of it may be a good idea, like a public parking structure, although why 50 or 60 spaces are promised to a developer as part of that is not clear to me. There's almost $2 million that depends on this that goes to the developer of 124. That's the old Grand Traverse Auto property on the river. Almost $2 million. If you look and that isn't detailed here in your memo, the last time there was no mention of any of this. This memo omits the $2 million for 124. 1.2 is for a private parking structure owned by the developer on a condo project on Boardman River with condos of $500,000. Why are we subsidizing $500,000 condos that almost none of your constituents will be able to afford? So that's $1.2 million, $295,000 of site preparation. This comes out of the Brownfield packet. and an indeterminate amount for a CD that the developer put up last time Brownfield put a lot of money into his property. He would put up a CD to secure completion of environmental cleanup. That's of indeterminate amount. When they get to $700,000, that developer's been promised return of his CD. I don't know how big that CD is. It wasn't in the Brownfield packet. I believe it to be in hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I could be wrong. But we need to get some details about this. But when it comes down to it, 1.2, 300,000, and another $500,000 of CD, if it's something of that magnitude, is $2 million to subsidize $500,000 condos. This hasn't got anything to do with pollution. This is just giving money to somebody he's a developer from Farmington Hills. There's nothing wrong with people from Farmington Hills. I don't see why we had to subsidize them at taxpayer expense. And they say the memo from Brownfield, I mean, you were left without information. That was the fault of the report you got. But the memo this time says, well, we think this time we can segregate the amount that's going to be from state education tax, and we're going to segregate that amount. And that way, it really doesn't cost us anything. But then if you look at the other side, they're separate. The part from the DDA, which is paid for by local tax money, all of it, apparently, is one-for-one going into the $5 or $6 million parking structure. You need a lot more information. I see nothing wrong with a more thorough discussion. You still have not gotten a fair report as to what's going on about this project, and I'd urge you to get one before you make your decision. There's nothing wrong with reconsidering it, though. So thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
I'm Chuck Judson. I'm currently chair of the Downtown Development Authority in Traverse City, and I live at 6861 Franklin Woods Drive, Peninsula Township. I do think you're entitled to a lot more information, and I don't intend to debate the issues in all due respect to the judge's perspective relative to subsidies to a developer. Dollars will be going into a reimbursement program for environmental cleanup. The DDA is prepared to discuss the issues relative to the parking deck, which will definitely improve the opportunities for further development in a tax base in the West Front area. So I do encourage you to vote yes on the motion. I appreciate that it's been brought back up. I apologize for our lack of active participation the first time around, much as Mr. Eckhoff indicated. And I'm available to have any conversations over the next couple of weeks, and we'll be more than happy to participate in information being provided so you have an accurate picture that the public's money will be well used. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Seeing no one, I will bring it back to the board. I am going to support the motion. That should not be, much like Dr. Johnson and Dr. Lathrop said, that should not be misinterpreted as support of the project. I am simply in support of the board receiving more information. I don't think that'll hurt any of us. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. That'll be on our August 17th agenda. Next, we have departmental items, administration, pension advisory board. We are, Mr. Menzel, do you want to comment on this, or shall I just go ahead and...
Well, this is following up on legislation passed that put the pension board into effect. We have gone through a process of asking for volunteers. There are 3 of the positions that would be open to the public, and we've gotten some interested parties who would like to be considered to be sitting on that board, so it's time to set up an ad hoc committee to review those applications and then submit one for the full board for approval and get moving on it. We would like them to look at the 401k plan, start evaluating that, making sure that our employees are getting the best advice and the best options available. And then they would also help us in reviewing anything that we come up with in terms of our negotiation with MERS as well on a recommending basis. So now would be an appropriate time to get that board up and operating.
All right. For everyone's information, our ad hoc committees consist of 3 commissioners. If we have any more than 3 commissioners, then our county clerk ends up sending someone up to take minutes, and so soon after the election cycle, I think she has other things on her plate that she and her staff need to be doing. So we are going to choose 3 members to select members of the Pension Advisory Board. I've been beating this horse for 10 years, and I would like to be one of the members on the who selects people for the Pension Advisory Board. Jody, would you be willing to serve as well, representing staff as we interview applicants?
I would.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Menzel, do you want to sit in as well or not?
No.
All right.
I would rather, I'm on it anyway, just by the way it's
Yes.
developed, and so I would like it to come from someone other than myself, because I would be working with those individuals, so I'd like to keep it arm's length.
All right. I do appreciate Jody's willingness to.
Well, she's got this.
She's got the expertise.
Finance, she's on it too, but she's in finance, so I think she might do some questioning.
She can provide some valuable input.
Absolutely.
All right. Who amongst us would like to sit on the selecting members of the Commissioner Wheelock? Dr. Lathrop and myself.
That's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, we have a pension advisory ad hoc committee. We have no unfinished old business. Do we have any new business?
No, it can be done by the chair, just by doing it.
Any new business? Going once?
Unless you want to talk about the bell tower.
Going once, going twice. This is our second opportunity for public comment.
I got the evil eye from Sonny.
There is no stampede to the podium. Commissioner reports.
I have one.
Commissioner Kropa.
I did not want to speak about this in the discussion on the DEQ loan, but I have been waiting a month to correct the record on this. I've contacted the Record Eagle. They are aware of their error. But in the original article about the DEQ loan, they said something that was very disturbing to me, about me. It says that Kropa said she said Durenzi swayed her towards an approving vote. It is very important to me that that record is clear. I never said that Jean Durenzi swayed me. All of you were right here. And it put a very negative light on Jean during a difficult time trying to deal with the aftermath of this loan. I did not appreciate it. I did not appreciate the insinuation that I am bought or sold by staff members or that I don't do my research. But I really want to clear the record for Jean because that was absolutely an inappropriate characterization of her role in this. All she did was answer my questions, which is what the staff does.
All right. Any other commissioner reports? Notices?
I had one report, if I might.
You may.
Is it the appropriate time to do it?
Anytime.
We attended, there's a large convention going on currently, the Center for Automotive Research at the resort. It's been here for many, many years, and we decided that it would be appropriate for us to participate in that, and we had a meet and greet with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and I got 5 business cards myself, but Jean Durenzi was there, and she and John Sykes were there, and Jen, and we worked the room and met people, and I've met people from Stuttgart, Germany that have plants here, and we should be there all the time, but we should be there in a little different manner, and I'm hoping next year that we'll be able to partner with the city, with the chamber, with the Traverse City Visitors and Convention Bureau. I mean, we need to meet these people, and then the next day we need to take them over to our industrial parks, show them what we have, really start selling the area. I mean, we've got a beautiful area geographically, but we really don't emphasize that we're open for business and we have opportunities for business, and I think we're really missing an opportunity. That's just indicative of one opportunity. I'm sure there are a lot of others out there, and if we're ever going to develop jobs for people in this community that are year-round, we need to be more proactive. So it was a very good experience. Jean, as a matter of fact, went out today for a special meeting with someone who is interested in the area. We wouldn't have gotten it if we weren't there, and that's just one time. So we really need to get more proactive, and we need to have help from the chamber and from Visitors Convention City, and really collaboratively work together, and I think we could really have some great results. So I just wanted to let you know it was really great. I really was happy with the results, and people love the area, but they really don't know that we're open for business. They just think we're a tourist area. And so it was really worthwhile. So I just wanted you to know it was time well spent, and Jen and John and Jean did a great job at meeting people, and I had got 5 business cards myself, so it was great.
All right.
I happened to
Sonny?
read an article this morning, very, very early this morning, so I'm not even sure I can remember all of it. But it had to do with the fact that this automotive conference that it was at Grand Traverse Resort this week, and has been for a number of years, is probably one of the most influential automotive conferences in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
And we've never
it's
been
been
there.
here for 10 years, and we've never participated.
Never been there.
You know, and we talk about our Visitors Convention Bureau. They do a fabulous job of promoting us as a vacation destination. They promote our hotels, our recreational facilities, and all of those kind of things. But I think we have, for years, been very slack at promoting ourselves as an industrial facility. You know,
I agree.
And if you go out and you drive off Hammond Road down into those industrial parks, there's some very, very key high-tech industry happening in our community that 99% of the people that drive down the road have no idea we're doing here.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of other small businesses and you know, old businesses. I even happen to own one of them that have been around for a long time and provide key services to our community. And we tend to forget that whole business component of our community, and we only talk about our vacation and our recreational stuff, and we really need to be promoting that business thing. But as a side note to that, we also need to be supporting and promoting manpower and staffing and a workforce, because that is the one thing that every business I know in our community cannot find people.
Yeah.
You know, they just simply cannot find employees. So we've got to figure out some way, whether people can't afford to live here, you know, that gets into that whole affordable housing cost item that I've been a part of for a long, long time. You know, but we have to figure out why we do not have a workforce, because we cannot expand that business and that industry if we don't have a workforce for them.
All right. Anyone else? We have no closed session. We are adjourned.
Hey, Kent?